You know, this December, I'm probably going to be playing a brand new handheld, and it's not this. It's also not this, and it's also not the OLED version of this. No, today we're going to be talking about Valve. We're getting a Valve console, and it's a Switch. And I'm actually really excited about it. So let's get right into it. Hello and welcome. My name is Wolfie, and you are watching GreaterThanPie. The Steam Deck is a brand new console being developed by Valve, sort of a console. It's actually a handheld that is also a PC, somehow. So what is the Steam Deck other than awfully close to the Stream Deck by Elgato? Well, it is actually a fully portable PC that Valve will be selling December 21st. And pre-orders for it are actually going live today, but you have to have a Steam account and you have to have purchased a game. Reservations are going to cost you $5, so I really wanted to get that out of the way just in case you want to reserve yours and there's still some available. Now let's actually talk about this thing. So the Steam Deck, what is it? Well, it's a portable. It's a portable PC. We've actually been seeing a lot of these lately, like GPD Win recently came out, the one that's being made by the one dude who sounds like he's doing something nefarious and that has a clear case. We've seen a couple of these lately and they've been picking up a bit of popularity, but Valve has decided to throw their hat into the ring and create their very own that is actually, well, rather interesting. You see, unlike those other ones that are running Windows, this one actually runs a custom OS called Steam OS. Now, we've seen Steam OS before and it actually failed miserably so hard that Valve actually made sure to erase it off of their gift cards. The Steam OS has actually been retooled and recreated to be used in a portable setting. And honestly, that's kind of awesome. That means that this thing is actually running Linux underneath all of that. So then that begs the question, are you going to be able to run all of your games? And the answer is surprisingly, yes. Valve has been working on this thing called Proton for a little while now. In fact, you actually may have seen it in a couple of videos where people have actually used it on Linux. And because of Proton, you can actually run Windows games pretty easily in Linux. Not only that, you can actually flash it with Windows if you want, because it's technically PC hardware underneath. Yes, this thing is going to actually be running PC hardware. Well, sort of. In fact, actually, we've never seen this processor before. It's running an AMD APU with 4 cores, 8 threads, and 8 RDNA 2 CUs. Now, why that's a big deal? We haven't seen RDNA in an APU yet. We've only seen Vega. In fact, actually, the most recent APUs to come out still use Vega, which means these are brand new APUs being developed for this thing exclusively, which I am super stoked about. RDNA 2 was a big boost over Vega, and so I'm really fascinated to see what 8 CUs are gonna actually be able to do. That being said, the screen that they're going to have to actually power isn't really that bad. It is a 720p screen. Actually, you have to do a lot of digging to get there. Well, sort of 720p. It's actually more like 800p. That's because it's actually not 16 by 9, it's 16 by 10, meaning that there's actually more horizontal pixels than a traditional 16 by 9. It's also a 7-inch screen diagonally, so that's not too bad of screen real estate. It can be purchased with an anti-glare coating on it, but that is in the most expensive model. Speaking of pricing though, this is where things get kind of interesting. The cheapest model is actually really affordable. So the cheapest model actually comes at $399, being $400 for a 64 gigabyte version. This one is the base version, which comes with a case and a charger. The next step up is $529, and this one comes with a NVMe drive, 256 gigabytes of storage, and a exclusive badge for your community profile to say that you are one of the few hipsters that actually own this thing. And for $649 or $650, you get 512 gigabytes of NVMe storage, an exclusive carrying case, an exclusive badge, an exclusive virtual keyboard. I hope it's like gold and like blinged out to say that you are the money moneymaker here, a premium anti-glare etched screen, which sounds an awful lot like one that Apple sells on their Retina display. That being said, let's actually address a couple of things. So first off, ergonomics. There's a reason I actually dug this thing out of the pit that it was in. Ergonomically, it's actually very similar to this with the sticks up top, except the buttons are also up top. So it's actually like really wide, it looks like. There's also a trackpad down below to give it more compatibility with PC games. That being said, I actually do own the Steam controller and I don't dislike it. I actually think it's a very weird controller, but it's not an uncomfortable controller to use. Has a learning curve, and I think that this will too. But due to the fact that I owned a Wii U and I actually, even when I owned this thing years ago, said that this is one of the most comfortable controllers to use, I think it's gonna be fine. I honestly do, because owning one of these and having the sticks up top like this and having this like kind of wide grip was surprisingly, and still like I grabbed this controller and I go, why are you such a disappointment? Like that is a much more comfortable controller. And I think that the Steam Deck will be equally as comfortable. And Valve does spend a bit of time on ergonomics. But now the bigger issue that I really do want to talk about is commitment. Because as aforementioned, I own a Steam controller, and those of you who have been watching for a while also know I own a Steam Link. 2 discontinued Valve products that exist. But there are a couple things that honestly encouraged me a little bit about this. One, both of those products came out before the Valve Index. And the Valve Index has currently been supported for quite a while now. And Valve has actually really pushed VR in a way that VR hasn't been pushed in the past. And because of that, because I know that they're probably still fighting an uphill battle when it comes to VR, I know that Valve can at least stick to something. Valve's rhetoric sounds awfully close to when they created the Steam OS in the first place, and they launched the Steam boxes or the Steam machines. And I am a little concerned. The way that Valve talks about this is as if they're creating a brand new segment in the market. And while this segment isn't being created, Valve isn't creating the wheel here. They're just the biggest player to enter this space. The thing is, to expect Dell to make something, to expect Razer to make something, to expect Asus to make something is a little far-fetched. Except we know Dell is making something and has been making something. So maybe it's not as far-fetched as we think. Maybe Valve has been working behind the scenes quietly and Dell is willing to give them a second chance with their Alienware brand because they were one of the few companies that actually released one of those Steam machines. But when it comes down to it, this is exciting to me. It is exciting because the Switch OLED wasn't nearly as exciting. And I've kind of wanted something like this forever. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you want a Steam Deck? Do you think that Steam Deck is a stupid name because it's too close to Stream Deck? And another good question, would you actually use something like this as your daily driver of a PC? Personally, as someone who likes the DIY solutions, I would prefer to actually have an option to build my own of something like this, but as someone who can't even build their own laptop, I can understand why I won't be able to. Wolfie, out.